Circes calculator, circle calculator. As I mentioned in the directions, you can calculate anything you want. Circes likes all math. One of the new concepts in this assignment is the concept of a representation of the class. So this is a car example class. When we initialize the car, we set these three attributes. Instead of printing or doing anything else inside the class other than storing information or doing something with that class, we're going to return a string that allows us to display it in a GUI, in a Flask, in any kind of interface that you want. You create your object, and when you print your object, it's going to return this string. You can use an F string that is not inside a print statement. You just remove the parenthesis. It becomes a string which can be displayed by any type of program. And there it is. There's our nice little representation. That's how we're going to do our circle program. I've created the two files and I've copied and pasted in my to-do list. This class is only going to work with circle calculations. We're going to set the radius, we're going to calculate the diameter, we're going to calculate the area circumference, and use the wrapper method to concatenate a string to display the results in this program. Well, we know how to define a class, right? Class, circle calculator. No problemo there. We've done that before. Now, the set radius is not going to get input from the user. We're going to use that to set the input from the main program up here to the attribute. So we'll call it set. Set means that we're putting something into the class. Get means we're getting something out. So set radius. Now, when we're getting something from outside the program, we need an incoming parameter to get information from the outside to the inside. Well, once we have this incoming parameter, all we're going to do is store it in our private attribute. Remember, the underscore makes it a private attribute. So now we have self._radius available through the entire program. The next one's not going to be a lot different, but it is going to be a get method. So we're going to get the diameter. Well, a get method can either return a value that's in there or it can return a calculation. So how do we get the diameter? We multiply, let's see, where are we at here? Oh, self.radius times 2. And to get the value out, we return it, return diameter. That'll return that value to us. If you, same thing here, there is an example of how to do the wrapper method in the assignment. Over here, well, we want to start our program with a main function. Right? And then at the end, we need to call main. Ta-da! And then we're going to call our function to print the title, which we haven't created yet. This is a function that's specific to this input program, to the input, to the user interface of the program. This is the view. So this doesn't need selfs or anything like that. This is just a function. So I want to make it simple and just have it print title. You can fill it out and make it beautiful later on. So the first thing we do is call the title, right? Whoops, that's the other way around. Goes underneath the to-do. There. Okay. We get our user input. We know how to get a user input as a float, right? I'm just going to hard code radius for now as I'm testing my program. We'll do a radius of 2. how do we create a program object? Well, I thought you would know how to do that. So we can do circle calculator. Yep, that's exactly what you told me. And then we do, we forgot to import our, yep, if you're going to use an object, you got to import the files. So we have to import circle. There we go. All right, then we do circle dot, there it is, circle calculator. That creates an object. So from this class in the circle file, we create an object that has all the methods and properties that we created over here. Properties, attributes, same thing. Then we would start calling our methods. Circle calculator dot get radius. Whoops, wrong one. Set radius. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. Because we're going from the outside in. So there we do radius. One more thing before we can test at least this part of it. Let's do print, because this is our wrapper, right? We just have to print the object and it'll come out as a nice string. Well, we haven't made the nice string yet. Well, I'm not going to make a great string, but I'll at least make a string anyway. So we define this just like we would anything else. REPR is a special, it's called a dunder method. Yeah, don't you like these names? Dunder. Okay, so this is a special method. We can use an F string to do whatever we want. I am just going to print out the radius. Now this, the formatting of this is just exactly the same. Oh, I forgot to put myself up here. It's exactly the same as if we were printing it. The only difference is, instead of printing it in here, which makes it very, all we can do is print it, we take that off, and we're going to return, I should show you how to do that. We'll just say result. We're going to store that in a string. And we concatenate by doing plus equals, and then we make another one, and I'll just say by or something like that. Now we want to have a new line between each display, so we do a /n. Then at the end, after we've built up our beautiful string, we return, turn the result. By returning results from here, we're not tied into how we display things. We can have a command line interface program. We can have a GUI program. We can have a TK-inter program. We could have a Flask interface. Whatever we wanted to do, this is now separated from this. This is the view. This is the model. I'm sorry. This is the business logic, so it's the controller. Does it work? Whoa, there it is. I printed my title. There's my radius, and then it says by. Well, that's how you build a program, a little piece at a time. Build, test. Build some more, test. Maybe the next thing you want to do is get input for the radius. Maybe you want to build out your function here a little bit. Oh, you probably have to have these guys first, don't you? So maybe you get input from the user, test that. Add the calculate circle, test that. Add calculate circle results down here, test that. There's nothing wrong with testing multiple times as you work through your program.